in District 50. Please make sure any noise-making devices are silenced for our meeting. This time, join me for the prayer and pledge. Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to come together as we do on Monday nights to practice our leadership and communication skills. Please be with our speakers and other members that they may reach their communication goals. We ask this in your name. Amen. Now for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, I will turn control to our presiding officer for the evening, Helen Mayo.
Thank you very much. And this is a new role, but I do know that my job right now is to introduce our Toastmaster. And our Toastmaster for this evening is Purushottam Kaushik. He has chosen democracy as our theme. Democracy is more than just a system of government. It's a way of life that empowers every individual with the ability to express their voice. It allows us to challenge ideas, seek change, and most importantly, contribute to the greater good of society. Much like democracy, Toastmasters gives each of us the platform to speak, listen, and lead with respect and confidence. Please welcome Purushottam Kaushik to the virtual lectern. Yay.
Thank you, Madam Presiding Officer. Good evening, everybody, my fellow Toastmasters. Unfortunately, we don't have guests, so let's not say good evening to them. As the US is going through the fever of presidential election, I thought, why not talk about democracy? Basically, democracy is not something new. It's a very old concept. So we people or current civilization, which think we are always in an advanced mode than the previous civilization, it's not. Democracy comes from a Greek words which are demos and kratos. So demos mean people and kratos mean rule. So it means a system where power is vested in people, and that's how the government works as per the will of the people. Around 500 BC ago, democracy was prevalent in Greek, then democracy was prevalent in Roman Empire. In Greek, everybody could vote through their assemblies, except there was exception at that time, except women and slaves and foreigners. In Roman Empire, democracy was in place through Senate. So people used to elect their senators, and senators used to create the policies, govern the state. That's what used to happen. But eventually what happened in Rome was all the senators were just rich guys. So power got concentrated among few rich families. And as I am telling you all this, you guys must be thinking, come on, Kaushik, this is not different from what we have today. Democracy hasn't changed. The concepts remain the same. Power get concentrated among rich people or few select dynasties, and we just go and vote for them. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, in Toastmaster, power is not concentrated in a few hands. Every week, we have a new presiding officer. Every week, we have a new program team that help us in growing, that guide us how we did, where we can improve, what were the things that we did good on, where we lagged. So let me introduce our program team. Or in other words, can I just say what do you call? Yeah, let's give me a different name. So today rules will have a different name. So our Secretary of English Language, Word Master and Grammarian is Amy Gar. So Amy, can you please tell us about your duties and responsibilities?
Thank you, President. Prashadam, I guess. I'm part of your cabinet. I will be serving as word master grammarian tonight. Our word of the day, which I encourage everybody to try to use, is majority. Majority means the greater number. An example, the majority of the meetings start right on time. So our club, Toastmasters, we do that. And as grammarian, I'll also be listening for proper use or improper use of the English language, as well as picturesque or unique phrases that I enjoy and make note of. I will report my findings at the end of the meeting when called upon. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Well, that was a show on some channel, Madam Secretary, I remember.
Treasurer.
Sorry?
Treasurer. Madam Treasurer.
No, Madam Secretary was there. There was a lady who was playing Secretary of State. There was a show, Madam Secretary.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Sorry to digress. Let me introduce next member of my cabinet, Secretary, our counter, Helen Mayo.
Thank you very much. Mr. President,
Whatever.
tonight I will be doing my favorite duty, which is as ah counter, where I would be listening to the ahs, ers, ums, like, grammatical or there's a difference between a grammatical and ungrammatical so, and if I feel that one is ungrammatical, I will count that. But there are many times where the so is actually quite grammatical, and that it goes back and forth, unfortunately. But I will be still keeping little tracks of that. I have my little tablet out in front of me that I will be making little hatch marks, and I will report my findings when called upon. Mr. President.
Thank you, Ellen. Now, next rule is very important rule, and I'm not requesting, I'm warning all of you that if anybody try to defer to our next person who is responsible for counting the vote and keeping track of time, that person will be prosecuted. So let's welcome our secretary, vote counter, and timer.
Why, thank you very much, Rashida. Hey, everyone. I am going to be timer and vote counter tonight. For table topics, we have a 1 minute where everybody will speak. I will have a green background, and that means you're finished. You are right on time. That's perfect. So you want to wait till you at least get to green. And then when you for table topics as well, at a minute and 30 seconds, well, a minute and a half. Apparently math is not my strong suit today. My background will be yellow. And for 2 minutes and about 15 seconds, I will, hopefully you can, sew in a little bit of extra time and wrap up whatever people are saying in your table topics and hopefully be finished before you get to this point, but you have 15 extra seconds. Now, I believe I'm going to take myself off that, but I will also be the vote counter for tonight and keeping track of table topics and majority rules. Whoever has the most votes for table topics, I will let everybody know at the end of the meeting. And Daniel Foyt, for your speech, how long is your speech going to be?
So Sarah, I'll be giving, it's 2 speeches. It's kind of a weird project. So each speech needs to be 2 to 3 minutes long. So I would like to have the green at 2 minutes, the yellow at 2.5, and the red at 3. But let's hope I don't ever get to the red.
You want me to give you a countdown?
No, but no. Just I think if we go with green at 2 and yellow at 2.5, I'll be in good shape.
Okay.
the way I'm reading the rules is you can't go over 3. So
Sure.
I'm just trying to make it easy. So, like I said, there's going to be 2 speeches.
Mhm.
I don't know, and I don't know which question I'm going to have to respond to. So I'll be kind of making it up as I go. So
That'll
that,
work. Okay. I
Alright.
will keep track of that. Thank you very much. All right. And back to you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you. In our world, we have around 190 countries, if I'm right. And there are, out of those 190 countries, there are 100 democracies. Democracies on a higher level can be defined in 3 categories. And I will let you decide where our democracy falls in. Category number 1, full democracies. In these type of democracies, elections are fair, everybody agrees with the election, nobody blame anybody, civil liberties are there, and there's a peaceful transition of power. That's full democracy. Second category is flawed democracy, where elections are generally free elections, people respect some civil liberties, but there's a political corruption, there's a weak government. Then there are hybrid regimes where countries do hold elections, but everybody knows what the outcome will be. There is rampant political corruption, zero accountability, at least in flawed, there is some accountability, but in this one, there is no accountability. Election outcome is predetermined. And after the election, the opposition party leaders take asylum in some other country. That's what the hybrid regime is. And we all can decide where our democracy is. And it is not unfair to say I have more experience than you guys when it comes to democracy because I know about 2 democracies. You know about 1 democracy. So now let's welcome our speaker for the evening. And today he will be giving 2 speeches. So let me read out his introduction. Tonight's speaker will take on a project entitled The Power of Humor in an Impromptu Speech. It is a different format than what we are used to. He will, not he. I will select 2 prompts from a list of 12 topics, and our speaker will respond with a 2 to 3 minute speech. Please welcome Daniel Foyt to the virtual lectern, taking on a level 4 project from Engaging Humor Pathway.
thank you, Prashadam.
So are you ready for the prompt?
I don't get nervous very often, but I'm nervous about this, but let's give it a go.
Don't worry. Don't worry. See, the focus of the nation is on 2 people, Harris and Trump, who will be debating tomorrow. You do not need to be nervous. Okay, Harris, Dan, my first question to you is, you have started a new job and asked to share something about yourself with your new colleagues. Do you want me to repeat the question, sir?
Please.
You have started a new job and are asked to share something about yourself with your new colleagues.
Okay. First of all, thank you everyone for embracing me and letting me join in on this work team. This is a dream come true for me. Over the last couple of days, I've really enjoyed getting to know everyone on the team. And I just can't say enough about how happy I am to be here. There's something you need to know about me. I like to work hard, but I also like to play hard. And playing hard to me means spending a lot of time outdoors. I'm an avid I keep up with exercising, but I wouldn't say I'm an avid outdoorsman, but I do like hiking and I do like camping. So those are some things that are really part of my life and staying physically fit. My background might be a little different than everybody in the rest of the team, but I know that we will be I'm looking forward to doing some wonderful things with everybody and working together with all of you. I had a sort of an epiphany a few years ago when I started off in this business. It was my first job and it was tough. I was living in Midland, Texas, which is a little town out in West Texas. And it was going okay. I had a good boss. Her name was Shorty, but I just felt frustrated in where I was going and where I was headed to. And I'd shared some of these concerns with my dad. And my dad owned a series or a chain of restaurants. And he said, well, son, if you'd like, you can always move home or move back and work for me. And I thought about it. And at the time, it really seemed like the right thing to do. So I wrote up my 2-week notice, handed it into my boss, Shorty. And to her, I don't know, I guess kudos to her because she said, Dan, I'm going to take this notice, fold it in half and put it in my desk drawer. If you show up to work in 2 weeks, I'm going to forget this letter even exists. But if you don't show up, that's good also. She gave me some time to think about it. And sure enough, 2 days later, I went into her office, took the letter, asked for it back, tore it up right in front of her. And I've had a great career ever since. So I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. And thank you so much for bringing me into the fold.
Thank you, Dan. Your second prompt is, there is a natural disaster. You and many others are safe in a shelter, but there is a lot of fear and uncertainty. As a community leader, you are asked to speak for a few minutes to reassure and calm the group. Do you want me to repeat the question, sir?
I think I got it. All right. Well, first of all, the best thing I can say is that we are all here together and we are safe. That's the best thing. What we want to do now is let our emergency workers and our first responders get out and do the job they are trained to do until we can all go back to our homes. There are a lot of children here, and I think it is incumbent on all of us to make sure first that our children are safe. Because I'm not the first to say this, it takes a village. All of us need to pull together to make sure that our children are well taken care of, that they are fed, and that they are warm in case we have to spend the night here overnight. We have a supply of blankets, and it looks like the Red Cross will be providing food for everyone. So I want to make sure that everyone gets the sustenance they need and that they are safe for tonight. Here again, the first responders are not letting us go back into our homes. We want to make sure that it's safe. I know that the power company is out checking to make sure that the power lines are either, if they're down, that they've been turned off, or if they are still working, that they are in place so that no one else is damaged. Same with the gas company. The gas company is out making sure that gas lines aren't broken and that they are not going to let us go back until it is safe. And this is a good thing. Like I said, the Red Cross has set up food and shelter. I hope that we will be getting some notifications from our police chief and our fire chief soon, so we will know whether or not we can get back into our homes where we are safe and sound. We are still waiting to hear what the damage is on the schools. We don't know that yet. We've been in contact with the school administration to determine whether or not schools can be open tomorrow. It looks like right now, with the power out the way it is, and with some places not having water and gas, that schools may not be open on time, but nothing has been set in stone on that. So we are still waiting to hear. But if I could just reiterate one more time, let's make sure that you are safe right now, that our children are safe, that you've got enough to eat, and that you are warm. And let's wait for the first responders until we can go back home. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Wonderful job, and a big round of applause to you. If you ask me personally what I think about democracy, it comes from my consulting experience, where I tell people that you can have the best processes in place, best controls. You only have two options. Either you automate all of them, or if you're relying on people, then your processes are only as good as people who are trying to enforce those processes. Because you can have the best processes in the world, but people are not enforcing them, there is no point of it. And in my view, to an extent, democracy is a flawed system, because you are relying on a population, general population, which doesn't think on policies or anything, just on emotion, and try to bring a government. I'll give you an example. In India, we have a state called Rajasthan. That's very beautiful state. It has desert, greenery, mountains, everything. And it is famous for forts. In that state, every 5 years, they elect a different government. So party one, they win one election. After 5 years, party two wins election. After 5 years, party one again win the election. Party two again win the election after 5 years. And for past 30 years, it has been the same guy from the two parties. So each of the parties, they are appointing the same person. So person A from party one, person B from party two. So person A become a chief minister. People are not happy. After 5 years, that guy lose the election. Person B becomes the chief minister. After 5 years, people are not happy with person B. Other party win, and person A again becomes the chief minister. And they have been doing it for past 30, 40 years. Like, not a single time, nobody has been defeat their government or win their re-election. And I have friends from that state, and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? You elect this person, you're not happy. Good. You elect second person, you're not happy with this person now. So you re-elect the previous person. And then again, you are not happy with this person, and again, you re-elect the other one. What's wrong with you guys? And he was like, oh, that's how politics run. I'm like, okay. And there's another state in India. It is one of the most mineral-rich state in India. In 1947, when India got freedom, it used to be a developed state. 40 years back, there was one party who came into the power. And very first declaration they said was, oh, we will make this state as the #1 state in the country. Oh my God. After 20 years, it is the most backward state in the country. And that guy keeps on winning the elections. And I'm like, why? How? Why don't people realize like they are just going backward? But no, that person keep on winning the election. So I sincerely, until unless there is something really life-changing happens, I don't believe in election people make same decision, or based on knowledge or facts they make decision. They just make decision on the basis of emotions. That's what I believe. With this, let's go into table topic. And table topic, Mr. Donovan, You managed to send me your introduction. Otherwise, I was planning to have an introduction for you. Our table topic master tonight, not table topic master, secretary of table topic master tonight is Donovan Miller. One of the hallmarks of democracy is free speech. In table topics, we encourage you to speak for 1 or 2 minutes without preparation. This type of speaking allows our members to be comfortable and prepared when asked to do so in the personal or professional life. Please help me welcome to the virtual lectern, Vice President of Education, Donovan Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. I love this topic. It is very timely as we are getting ready to go into election season. It's weird because I heard them say that election season doesn't really start until after Labor Day, but it seems like for the past couple of elections, it has started way before that. So it's interesting, and I think that goes back to a point that Pershun was making. Most people are probably voting on emotions anyway. So maybe this shorter time frame is about all people can muster in order to get their thoughts together and make their decisions. Well, one of the things about that I think of for democracies is that there is a strong human rights component and there are fundamental freedoms. So it's a majority rule system. And in order to have protections there for whoever happens to be in the minority, there needs to be these broad-based rights and protections. So my first question would be, if you are setting up your own democracy, what is one right that you would definitely want to have? Income. Would you like to answer?
Yes, please. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. I would say from my own experience, coming from a country we've been really oppressed growing up, freedom of speech is taken for granted in so many parts of the world. It's very, very important for everyone to be able to express themselves at any point in time. Those in favor or those against a government should be able to express themselves. So I would say freedom of expression is one important tool I would always go for at any time. Thank you.
Thank you. Income, great answer. So our democracy is a representative structure in that we choose our senators, and those senators are 2 per state, and then our representatives are chosen based on the population of a state. So the larger the state, the more representatives you may have, but currently, the way it is set up, you're only going to get 2 senators per state, no matter what the size of the state. So my question is, do you feel that this is truly representative of the population, or are there changes that we could make to the system? How about Helen?
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. This is actually something that my husband and I have chatted about back and forth a couple of times. And the consensus that he and I have come to is that the way that it's set up now, where in the House of Representatives, it's population-based, but in the Senate, it's 2 per state, we're okay with that because it does go ahead and it's kind of equipoise, because there are so many people that think you have to do it by population, but there are many people that say, but if you do it by population, then the fact that I live in a dink place like Connecticut is going to be underpowering me. And so if you have it one in one way and one in the other way, then you do have an equipoise. And that's just the decision that he and I have come to. I can see that some people would think of it the other way, but just to go ahead and list out all the different states. I mean, do we divide it up by geographical area? We already have the states, and the states are laid out the way they're laid out, and I think changing that would be even worse. So I'm happy with the way it is, and my husband voted that way too. So we're in a consensus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Helen. So we are getting ready to go into another debate. And debates have, I think over time, their roles have ebbed and faded. The last debate probably had an oversized role in how the course of this election has gone. A lot of the polls and pundits will be talking about chasing this elusive, undecided voter. And at this point, it seems like our country is very evenly split. And I've always kind of felt that whatever someone says on the party you're not in favor with, you're just going to let it slide. So I guess my question is, how important do you think debates are, or have most people already made up their minds? How about Patty?
Thank you, Mr. Masters. Table topic. Is that how I address the group? Thank you for asking this question. And I think particularly in this year's election, it is crucially important that we have the debate, simply because, as you said, the impact of the previous debate in June led to President Biden deciding that he would not run for re-election. We do need to know where Vice President Kamala Harris stands on the issues that she wants to run on. So we need to have an idea. I understand that she just posted what she's, I guess, going to be presenting, or her viewpoints on her website today, but we're just, less than 2 months out from the election. So more than ever, I think this year's debate is crucial, but I would agree with you that the majority of people probably know where they're going to vote, and chasing that independent voter is what the two nominees are going to be trying to persuade that their way is the best way for the country. So and I think it will be heavily watched. I believe the one in June had a very high number of eyes on the debate. And I think this debate tomorrow night will be equally or even more heavily watched than what we saw earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Patty, and thanks to all our participants. Could I please get a timers report?
Yes, you may. Let's see. So we had Income and Helen and Patty. Did I pronounce that correctly? So Income, you came very close to a minute. You didn't quite make it to a minute. But are we still counting that? Is it okay? But Helen and Patty both made it to about literally right about the same time. So Patty just short of 1:30, and Helen at 1:34. So just Helen and Patty qualified technically.
All right. Thank you. At this time, please take a moment to vote for either Patty or Helen, and Sarah will tally those votes. At this time, I'll return control to our Toastmaster, Prashunam Kaushik.
Somebody muted me. See, during election cycles, even a simple word or a phrase can become a joke. No matter how much I disagree, I won't say disagree is a strong word. I understand democracy is a flawed system, but there are certain good things to it, positives to it. So I am trying to figure out like what are the good things or big positives that we can have out of democracy. One very big thing which I believe is improved quality of life. In theory, we are electing people. And if they don't perform, or if they don't work for us, or if they don't do good for the public, then in next election, those people will be removed. They will lose and new people will come. So anybody who wants to stay in a power for a long term, then yeah, they have to work for the people. Like they have to improve their quality of life. So that's how indirectly general public do get benefited out of that. But on the other hand, when in the news I listen, the roads are broken or bridges are getting old, half of the country doesn't have a broadband. And you need to understand, for somebody who's coming from a different country, who have a different view of America, America is the #1 country in the world. And when you say, oh, half of the country doesn't have a broadband, oh my God, what's wrong with you? So yeah, like definitely elected representatives are not doing their job, but still getting elected again and again. People need to think about it. Now it's something like a state who was really good become a backward, but still people getting re-elected. So yeah, there's always two sides of the coin. But yeah, democracy do promote improved quality of life. It do promote accountability. It do promote equality, because every vote count. It's basically the same. Every vote has the same weightage. Even though I'm not eligible for vote, but like if I would have been voting, my vote have been counted same as anybody else. So it do provide the feeling of equality. And again, it's a peaceful transition of power. That's what it provides. Like if you have a monarchy, a monarch want to give the kingdom to his son, the other son doesn't agree with that, then you have a war. So we have a peaceful transition of power because majority of the public is saying like, okay, this is the person who will be leading the government for the next 4 years or 5 years, whatever the time frame is. And then in democracy, there's a protection of individual rights. There's a freedom. There is some basic rights and freedom that are given to the public. In any other system, dictatorship, monarchy, those things are not guaranteed. If you are living under a monarchy, one day monarch decide every house needs to be blue color. It doesn't matter whether you like a pink or red. It doesn't matter. So yeah, so even though it's a flawed system, yeah, it is one of the best system which we have available. So until unless somebody else come with a new government system, we are sticking with it, and it is one of the best possible systems. So with this, we move into our next section, which is general evaluation. And we have the person with whom we trust with our money, everybody trusts her. Our Secretary General Evaluator is Amy Gao. So Amy believes that listening and giving constructive feedback are key components of the Toastmaster experience. The evaluation portion of the meeting helps us to exercise our listening and impromptu speaking skill. Evaluation encourage all members to continuously improve. Amy has been a long-term member of Hillcrest. Please welcome our club treasurer, Amy Dow.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. When you said the theme tonight was democracy, I said, oh, this could get really heavy since it's the political season. And then you were talking about somebody muted me, which was a funny thing because they've been arguing back and forth about whether to mute or not to mute for the debate. And it's been just crazy. So that was a nice way to transition into the next section. Tonight we have a great program team. First started off by me, so I will just go into, yes. Did you have a question? Our
No.
general evaluator first. Let's do our evaluator first. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do that first. Okay. Tonight we have an excellent evaluator. Hopefully this isn't your first time, is it, Heidi? Is it your first time? So we have a first-time evaluator. So great. So she'll be speaking for 2 to 3 minutes, and she's going to be evaluating the hard project that Daniel had to do, which was the random 2 topics that get like what topic roulette, I guess, or whatever tonight. And he had to speak in 2 to 3 minutes for that project. So this is going to be an interesting project to be continued, I think. Tonight, our evaluator Heidi says that feedback is an integral part of growth in any area of life in which we are looking to improve. Our evaluator this evening believes that feedback is best when it is thoughtful, timely, and delivered with genuine care and sincerity. Please help me welcome to the virtual lectern our evaluator for this evening, Heidi Jordan.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Dan, my friend, I don't think I have ever seen you sweat on camera before. That's a first. And I love how your attire for this evening just happened to fit very well in with your question number 1. I don't know if that was on purpose or just coincidence, but if it was coincidence, congratulations on a very happy themed sweatshirt. You looked very comfortable in your attire, even if you were kind of sweating inside. This is a really difficult topic, I think. And Amy, I loved how you describe it as table topic roulette. I think that that's a great descriptor of what Dan had to do. Dan, I was looking at your evaluation form that you sent me, and it looks like there are 2 components that you were really focusing on tonight. One was incorporating some sort of personal story and some sort of humorous element at the same time. So correct me if I'm wrong on that. Okay.
That's good.
Okay, perfect. So for your first response, I love that you talked about camping and hiking and things that were very personal to you. I think you did a fantastic job incorporating into this fake job and fake group of people that you were excited to work with. You had a great smile, great engagement with the camera. It's always difficult with Zoom because you have to learn to look at the camera and not at the screen to engage people. I think you did a really, really good job of that. I think you captured a majority of our attention with what you had to say. I did really appreciate the personal story about Shorty. Being a short person myself, I thought, isn't that great that Dan's favorite boss was this short little woman? So that was amazing. In your second response, you had a much more serious tone, a lot of genuine concern. You covered a lot of different areas that were applicable: food, clothing, shelter, kids, school, work. Lots of different areas that people would be concerned with: safety, utilities. It was a much more direct kind of response, something that was more geared towards getting response and getting people taken care of, Not a whole lot of humor there. I didn't really pick up on any kind of personal stories, but you definitely came across with a lot of sincerity and concern to make sure that these people that you were working with had everything that they needed and were in a safe place. So overall, lovely delivery, two very different topics with a very different kind of delivery overall. Again, if you're looking for humor, I didn't really find a whole lot of humor in the second one, but it wasn't a humorous topic, so I don't know that humor would have been appropriate as part of that response. But overall, lovely job, great personal story in the first one. Really enjoyed your responses. Thank you for sharing. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Heidi. Excellent job. Now I can go back to the program team section. Our Wordmaster Grammarian tonight is me. I will start off with word of the day. I had Donovan, Sarah, Heidi, Patty use majority. Did I miss somebody? Oh, good. I'm trying to put my listening hat on, but I feel like I'm still a little ADD sometimes. So as far as grammar, the only thing that I noticed, and because Prasadam spoke so long, was you said it do promote instead of it does promote. So if you use a verb, it does promote. And there was one, don't do good. I think it should be don't do well for the public, but tell me if my resident Helen, if that's right, that as far as good and well. So it should be don't do good for the public. You said, so we should be don't do well. For picture rescues, I like the peaceful transition of power and two sides of the coin. That kind of describe those pictures for me. Dan, I like your word sustenance and incumbent upon all. And of course, your outdoorsman shirt and everything went well. And also the picture of bringing me into the fold, and it takes a village. So those are good images that I could see. Donovan, I like your alliteration with polls and pundits. Heidi, as you noted, sweat on camera for Dan, and also genuine concern. And Kim, I like your phrase of freedom of expression. And Helen takes the grammar, or I guess the word for the day that I had to look up and make sure I spelt it right, equipoise. That was a very good word, equipoise. And with that, I am done with the Wordmaster Grammarian part. Next, I will call upon Helen as our counter for tonight.
Thank you very much. As you know, I am Helen the Obsessive Compulsive. So I sometimes over-listen, but that is part of my role for this part of the meeting. And Purushottam, you did use twice. And tonight I noticed that you were using like quite a bit. So you'd say like this, like that. I counted 5 times, which is not terrible. And you used so ungrammatically once that I noticed. And that is much more difficult because sometimes it's grammatical, sometimes it isn't. It goes back and forth. Amy, you did use twice. And the same thing with the so. Once it was back and forth as to whether it would have been grammatical or not grammatical. And Sarah, you did use 6 times and once. Daniel, you used once and twice. And while you were giving your talk, at one point you said it was, and another point you said like. And Donovan didn't hear anything. And Heidi, you had 1, and again, 3 so's that go back and forth between grammatical, not grammatical. And Patty, you only had 3 ahs, and that was it. And Enkeem, believe it or not, I didn't catch anything. So very good. And the so that I just used was probably grammatical. And with that, I turn it back to Amy.
Thank you very much for that detailed counter report. Next, I will move into the meeting and general evaluation portion. Thanks again for David for getting us started, but David had to go do scouts, so that's why he had to check out there. But everything was set up as far as I know, and everybody showed up except for Chris. I had to fill in real quick at the end. So please, if you can't make it, please make sure that we get a little heads up instead of right before, if possible. As far as the meeting, I think everything went smoothly. Good job on the timing. The timing was a little bit harder today, Sarah. So good job on getting all those times for all the different types of speeches. I think that's it as far as I can think of. Anything else that I need to catch as far as? So excellent topic. It could have been very deep tonight, but I think Pursutum had a good balance of knowledge and then serious and not serious, and giving a lot of examples of the way things work in other parts of the world. And with that, I will return the meeting back to our Toastmaster who can present the awards. Back to you.
Thank you. This year has been a super election year for me. 6 months back, it was election in India. Now we are having election in US. And one thing which is common in both the elections, every party, like over here, if you listen to Democrats, oh, Republicans come, democracy will die. You listen to Republican, if Democrats come, democracy will die. In India also, two major parties, they have the same claim about the other. Or if that comes to power, democracy will die. Or if that comes to power, democracy will die. When I listen to all this, sometimes I think, and there is only one phrase which comes to my mind, is damsel in distress, which everybody is trying to say. Democracy is a damsel in distress, and everybody is claiming that they will save the democracy. But with a democratic system, it's a wonderful system. But it is in our hand how we can keep it alive or how we can make it thrive. And as we all know, over the period of time in any system, some flaws do creep in. And the biggest flaw which I see everywhere in the world with the democratic system is media. Media is partial like anything. If you listen to Fox, Trump cannot do anything wrong. If you listen to any other MSNBC or CNN, Trump cannot do anything right. It's not 1 and 0. It's always 0.5, 0.7, 0.6. Nothing is 1 and 0 in this world. And same cases in India also. The media news houses which support one party, for them, oh, that party is God, other one is devil. And it happens everywhere. Another thing is that can creep into any democratic system, and I have seen that happening in India, is majoritism or minoritism. If you exploit the fear of minority, then you try to treat them as a vote bank and they vote in a certain point, then reverse polarization takes place and the majority goes into another position. So those type of things do happen in democracy over the period of time. So if we want to keep this system alive and thriving, we need to make sure that those things doesn't happen, even though it is easier said than done. But I have only one thing for everybody who take part in democracy. You have no right to complain if you do not go and vote. If you want to complain about your leaders, if you want to complain about your government, go and vote. Otherwise, shut up and sit home. That's what needs to happen with the people. And in every country, in India, like we are the #1 population in the country, and the voting percentage is 67%. And people just want to complain to the government, and you go and vote and then complain. So with this, do I need to ask Sarah for the word or you? Okay. With this, now let's get into a section where there will be no objection, nothing, nobody will complain, no suits, nothing. Sarah, please announce the winner.
Will do. All right. Our best speaker tonight in terms of general speeches was Daniel Foy. Great job. Our best evaluator, speech evaluator is Heidi. Great work. And last but not least, by a popular vote, our best and winner of today's table topics is Patty. And that's my report. Back to you.
Thank you, Sarah, for counting the vote meticulously. With this, I return control to our presiding officer for the evening, Madam Helen Mayer.
Thank you very much. And the only other thing I wanted to just bring up, and I'm sure all of you got this email about the base camp outage that's going to be happening. And it's going to be between October 9th and October 25th. And so I will have to say that I'm not that familiar with the base camp, because when I have done all of my projects, they were with the old system, not the new system. And the base camp is really a big part of the, and I heard an and I heard an but with the new system that we have and the Pathways project, there is a base camp. And so everyone just needs to pay attention to the email and get prepped and make sure that they have all their information that they need, since it'll be out for about a month or a couple of weeks. And I don't have any other business to report. Donovan, did you want to talk about the roles for next week?
Yes, next week, unfortunately, we are going to have to stay virtual as Central Market is still using the room. Our Toastmaster, the one and only Sarah Manis. Table topics, Daniel, and Daniel will let me know if he can fill that role. General Evaluator, David Richmond. Our Wordmaster Grammarian, Kriti. All Counter, Pershutam. Vote Counter and Timer, Amy Gow. And I will check in with Kriti. I know we haven't seen her in a few weeks. It dawned on me, I think, over the last week that I was looking at the schedule and saw her name and thought we haven't seen her. So I will double check and make sure she's going to be able to come.
If I can do Timer and Vote Counter if she's not available.
Okay, she was down for, I guess, either way. Wordmaster Grammarian.
Oh, okay.
I believe she's a student, so she may be getting settled or wherever she's going. So,
How are we doing on dues, Amy?
dues are dues. If you haven't played, dues are due. So you can log into your account before this October shutdown. So if you do have education awards sitting out there, don't dawdle and get them to Donovan so that we can get them approved, because there'll be no base camp. And I'm not real, I shouldn't say this, but they say it's supposed to be an outage from the 9th to the 25th. But any of you who know that when you transition these kind of things, it could take a little while. So if you need to get your education awards in, go ahead and get them done now, and don't wait till base camp is revamped, and then you won't know where any of the buttons are anyway then. But back to dues. Yes, you can log into your account and then you can see when you are paid through, but I will also send out another reminder email this week to those who still need to pay. And then so if you get the letter, that means you need to pay. So whether you pay $145 for a full year or $81 for 6 months, we're giving a discount if you pay for the year. And I will have details of how to pay, but we basically take almost anything: check, Zelle, credit card, Venmo, PayPal, or you can just go online to your Toastmaster account and pay for at least the Toastmaster International part of your dues, and then you'll have to pay me the club dues separate. Clear as mud?
Yeah, Amy, I'm almost positive you'll be able to pay dues online. What they're taking down is the education part of the Toastmasters website, not they're not
Right,
gonna
right.
stop being
right.
able to take money.
No, they're not going to touch the money part. They've already fixed the money part so that you
I
can
can't
actually
imagine.
pay. You can actually pay for the full year now. Last year you couldn't. You had to wait until they changed it, and so it was silly. But now you can actually pay for 6 months or the full year. It's just that the club dues have to come to me because we have a separate account for the club. It'll be all in the dues letter. If you have any questions, just email me and let me know.
Thank you again for helping me with that.
Sure.
Yeah, Amy, you use your email for your Zelle account, right?
Yes, the Zelle is
Okay.
my email, amyrgal@gmail.com. So if you just want to Zelle me, you can do that too.
145.
Okay. Any other questions? Great. I will return control back to our presiding officer, Helen.
I don't think there's any other comments. I think we are done for the evening. Is that the feeling of everyone else?
Yep.
Okay, well, let's look forward to a wonderful week for everybody. And we will see each other virtually this time next week.
All righty. Good night,
All
everybody.
right, great.
Good night.
Everybody.
Good night.
Thanks again.
Great job tonight.
Thank you.